Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Football Biz. My name is Grayson. He is Hunter, and today we will be going over the World Cup knockout stages and what our predictions are. And also with that, we'll be covering a bit of the group stage and in discussing the how certain teams did to get to the knockout stages and going from there. Now we're recording this at 12 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday, so we did just see the USA against the Netherlands. The Netherlands prevailing 3-1 with goals from Memphis Depay, Daley Blind, and Denzel Dumfries to the US's Haji Wright. So I guess first of all, we can jump right into that one. So what did you think of that match?
I feel like it was a nice story going into it. Everyone wanted the US to win just for fun, but I think everyone could have expected the Netherlands to win. They're a better team. Uh, Better coaching, better bench all around. And, I love the US players, but I think it's nothing that surprised me, to
Yeah,
be honest.
same. I have the Dutch winning in both of my brackets, and one of them I even was hopeful that they might go on and win the whole thing. Um, I forget who I had winning in the other one. I think it was Portugal, but I think the Dutch are a well-oiled machine now. Their main issue was going forward. Without Memphis Depay in the starting lineup, he was coming back from an injury, but he was in the lineup today. Played a really good game. Scored a great goal, just getting the better of Tyler Adams in the box off of Denzel Dumfries' cross. He was also really good today. Better than he's been in the
Man of
tournament,
the
I would
match, I
say.
would assume.
Yeah,
One of
but
those.
how we expect Dumfries to play.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal player for Inter
I
Milan.
will say Gakpo has got the fourth major stat on his in his back pocket now with that goal line clearance. So now he has a
He
save
did.
and a
That's
goal.
true. Yeah,
Everything
even if
there
he's
is to
not,
score.
on the score sheet, Gakpo is
Doing
still one of
some.
those crucial guys for the Netherlands. He's a great going both ways.
He's very
Um,
exciting.
we've seen what he can do going forward. And then it's good to know that he does have the defensive discipline as well. So yeah, I fully expected the Dutch to win this game. I don't really think there's too much else to really talk about there. They
No
were
surprise.
they were by and far the better team. Um, and really no shocks there. And the other game that will be played today is Argentina against Australia. Now, I think a lot of people are going to say that this one's cut and dry for Argentina. And while I think they'll win, I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I Australia proved me wrong.
Surprising. Very
They
surprising.
spit in my face and told me like you're crazy. I said they were going to be one of the worst teams in the tournament, and they ended up getting 6 points, including beating Denmark, who frankly was disappointing. Um,
So disappointing. And they had the first goal against France in that game. So
they did.
props to them. So I'm not gonna say that they're gonna win because especially because the way Argentina has been playing has not been the greatest I've ever seen. So not
Yeah,
only does Argentina need to pick it up on their own end, they're gonna need to do a lot to stop this Australian attack, who has been quite surprising.
yeah.
And
I mean,
and
that
no
goal that
complaints.
Matthew Leckie scored against Denmark was like one of the best solo runs I've ever seen. Like he took a decent defender, and I think it was Joaquin. I think it was Mele for Denmark. Turned him inside out, put it between his legs, and scored. Like individual skill. I mean, individual brilliance. They're going to need that. Australia's going to
Yeah.
need that from some of their key players like Lecky to do that. Against Argentina if they have any chance. But what Australia also potentially could do is absorb pressure and then just hope for the draw and then hope to beat them in penalties, which
Mm.
teams can do in the knockout stages.
Yeah, now
Um,
it's a completely different game. You don't have to settle for the draw. People have to go for it. So we're gonna see these teams kind of play a different game than they did in the group stage.
yeah, absolutely. Because they can absorb the pressure and just go out from there. Yeah, I mean, I still have Argentina going through. Um, Obviously looking forward, they may have some trouble if they do win this game. I think the Dutch will give them some trouble, but that's for another discussion. On a later date. So that's it for today. But tomorrow's matches, we got first of all France against Poland. Um, Now for me, I do think that the French should win this game. Um, Robert Lewandowski is obviously always a threat. You know that very well. Um, but I just think that the quality of France is going to be too much for them.
Poland versus Argentina. I don't know how far into it was, but it was 15 shots to one. Poland
Yeah.
is not creating anything at all, so I don't see how there's any surprise here.
If I will say this, if Poland does have a chance, it'll be because of Wojciech Szczesny. I would
What a
say so
performance,
far
by the
he's
way.
been
Wow.
by and far goalkeeper of the tournament. He had what 13, 14 saves
I
against
think it's
Argentina. He was close to
I
Tim
think
Howard.
it was 11 in that game, but 15 total for the tournament, I think. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he's been absolutely phenomenal and proving why he's Juventus's number one and why he was at Arsenal for so many years. He's been playing really well, and I think if Poland does have a chance, it'll be because they sit back, absorb the pressure. Guys like Glick are going to have to step up, um,
I
and
don't
really
think that's
just
going to happen, though, if we're
defend
being
for their
honest.
lives. I, I
France,
I also don't think so. I think France will be too much for them, but I'm just saying if Poland does have a chance in this game, it'll be because they're going to be the team that does sit back. There's no way that Poland is going to try to, attack Argentina because frankly, or for France, my bad, because France just does have that extra quality, and guys like Mbappe, who frankly are going to give Glick a hard day. But yeah, I mean, with the amount of attacking quality that France has, even with their injuries, I do think that they should win this game. No excuses for them on that part.
yeah, I got no disagreement there. I do want to point out what you said about Chesney. I do want to give Matt Turner his flowers for America. The defense let
Yeah.
him down. I'm going to go back to this. He was a fantastic
They
keeper
they
tournament.
absolutely did, and the New England Revolution fan in me was very happy to see that. Being our number one for a few years, and then the fact that he's now where he is an absolute testament to how class Matt Turner is, and for a guy that only started playing when he was 16,
Mhm.
to going from that kid that just picked up football as a third sport, to ending up going with it to play in Fairfield, Connecticut, and then going to the New England Revolution, and then building his career there, and then going to Arsenal. It's a great story.
I
Um,
hope he finds a team because obviously Ramsdale, starting keeper there.
yeah,
So
I
I
mean he's
think
been playing
this
like the cup
tournament,
matches and stuff, but yeah, he needs to. I definitely think he needs to find a different, at least on a loan move or something to
I
get
think
some
this
regular
tournament is
minutes.
the January transfer like eye opener for a lot of people.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
obviously Gakpo.
Turner could start in a few Premier League teams. I absolutely think he could. Um, it's just a matter of how well suitors are potentially looking at him.
But anyway, I
Um,
just wanted to give goalkeeper credit to
yeah,
him since you mentioned.
respect, and in a similar case to Noppert on the Netherlands, a guy that
True.
didn't play really much until he was, you know, 27, 28 this year, um, and rising from getting cut from youth teams to his first teams, and then being told that he should quit by his family. Like he's a guy that definitely deserves all the plaudits, and
Mm.
he played a decent match too today against the U.S. So two great goalkeepers with good stories, and both that I think even though they're in the middle of a traditional career, I think they both are still on the way up.
Yeah, agreed.
Absolutely. Jumping to the next match, we got England against Senegal. Um, Senegal surprised me. They really did. I was fully expecting Ecuador to get second, especially
Yeah,
after through the Netherlands. I thought the way Ecuador was playing was gonna be enough to get them there, but I was wrong. I think both of us had Ecuador at second.
yeah.
I thought that the absence of Mane was going to be too much for them. But full credit to them. They edged out Ecuador in the final game. Koulibaly scoring the winner.
They still
In what
got
was
paced out in wings, so I mean they're getting down there. I don't I can't say I expect them to beat England. Again, crazier things have happened in this tournament. Probably one of the craziest World Cups we've ever seen in recent
yeah.
time, at least. I'm still gonna put England on top here. Maybe not by a lot, but
Yeah, I think England will win this too. I think I'm going for maybe like a 2-0 or a 3-1. Maybe like a 2-goal margin. I mean, there's just enough
That's
attacking
simple.
talent in
Yeah.
there with guys like Bukayo Saka who have had a good tournament so far. Harry Kane has looked all right. He's had some good looks. This could be the game where he comes out and puts in a performance like we're used to from him. Um, and then I think the difference maker could be Jude Bellingham. I said Musiala would probably win the Golden Ball. I don't think the Golden Boy Award. I don't think he will.
Unfortunate.
Obviously because we'll get to that
Yes.
later. But with Germany's elimination, I think Bellingham has a great shot to win the Golden Boy Award in this tournament, and it would be well deserved because he's been one of the key members of this England team, despite being very young.
Yeah, I mean, no complaints there. They have a lot of young players who could also go for that. I mean, Saka himself, who's been
Yeah,
just good.
absolutely.
So, I mean, we'll come down to see that in the later stages of the round. But I think it'll be a good match. But I'm putting England on top there.
Yeah, no, I think England absolutely has that one. No real doubts there from me. This next one is there's a lot to talk about with this next game. So it's Japan against Croatia. Um, it's a match where typically it wouldn't be too surprising given the quality of both teams. But what is surprising is the fact that Japan topped a group with both Spain and Germany by beating both of them. How they lost to Costa Rica, that's
That's an
no clue,
anomaly. That's an
no
anomaly.
idea. That moment when Costa Rica took the lead against Germany, I was gonna be so happy. I was
It was
like,
a crazy
Spain
feeling.
is going out too, but then obviously Germany came back and scored three
Yeah,
goals.
the only silver lining there was hoping that Spain got eliminated as well. But
I would have
can't
been
get
very
everything you
happy with
want.
that, but it didn't happen. Um,
I'm
but
going to
but
give all the credit to Japan here.
me too.
They played their hearts out. They totally deserve to top that group. Um, and I think by a very thin margin, I'm going to put Japan on top here because
I'm too.
I think that group with Croatia, Canada, Belgium was a razor thin margin. People are only winning by the mistakes of others or something like that. Like Croatia's only in because Lukaku doesn't know how to finish,
Had a
stuff like
score.
that.
Yeah, he missed
So
four
I'm going to
sitters.
give the edge to Japan here and fairly confidently as well. I think they have the momentum, they have the passion clearly, and now they have a lot of eyes on them. I think they'll do well.
Yeah, I absolutely think Japan have this. Now I think one thing we could talk about before moving on to the next game is the potential controversy of their second goal that they did score. Now they obviously scored two goals in about 3 minutes. I was watching this game in one of my classes and my eyes were like wide open after they scored the second one. Because I was like, oh damn, Japan just took the lead against Spain. And it just shows the resiliency. But the ball was out. The ball was in. I mean, by less like a millimeter. Like a lot of people thought, oh, it's clearly out. And by the angle of like the depth angle, like the perspective angle, it did look out. It very much did. But because of the sphere shape of a ball
Mhm.
from the angle from the top, it was clearly in.
Well, it's a game of a bird's eye view. At the end of the day, when it comes down to goal line technology and stuff like that, it's gonna come down from the top. So as a
Yeah,
biased fan, I'm gonna say that was totally out of bounds, but I know in reality, just by a hair that was,
yeah. I
unfortunately.
mean, it was in. I definitely think it was in. And I think as a biased fan that you should be thankful that it was in because Germany, had a similar thing happen in 2010 where Frank Lampard clearly scored and you got away with it.
That was
So
many
the
years
one
ago.
goal line decision goes your way, another one doesn't.
That was
I think
way
that
too long
in the
ago.
end of the day, I think that debt has been paid. England are obviously going on to the round of 16 and are probably
I'm
looking at
tired
that
of
and
getting
saying,
grouped.
well, they probably deserve
Yeah.
this. But even though I think the only players in that Germany team that were in that World Cup are Mueller and Neuer, but um, I absolutely think that the ball was in. It was a matter of millimeters, but from the top angle, you can't really refute it. Japan scored. Japan wins the game. And yeah, I
I'm not
think Japan
taking
will be
anything
going
away
to the
from
round of
Japan.
eight. Um, yeah, there's been some dudes stepping up in that team, and I absolutely think that they're a strong team. They have all the tools going forward. Um, and no reason why I don't think they'll give the old back line of Croatia any trouble, or a ton of trouble. I mean, so the next game we got Brazil against South Korea. Um, I I get Brazil's got some injuries, but still, I you would think that they have enough to beat South Korea.
On paper, for sure. I mean, then again, they did just lose their last group stage game
They
out of
did, but
nowhere.
they benched a lot of guys. Like here, let me look at the
I will say
Brazil
though, their
squad from
starting
the
lineup was
last.
still very strong, so I don't think there was any.
It was like
They
obviously
should have
there's
started
guys in
off
there like
stronger.
Jesus, Anthony, Martinelli, Fabinho, Militao. Like there's a lot of talent in there, but when you look at the guys that they left on the bench, I mean, Thiago Silva didn't play. Allison, who frankly is, I would
He's,
say Ederson's close to his level, but
I
Allison
think,
is still their
better
starter.
keeper.
Paqueta didn't play. Richarlison didn't play. Um, Vinicius didn't play the whole game. He didn't even get subbed in. Brazil was missing some guys in this game, but to your point, I would agree that yeah, they still probably should have beat Cameroon. Um,
At least
eh,
to draw.
yeah, at least a
Yeah.
draw. Um, but I think Brazil is potentially vulnerable. Depends. I would say part of it depends on if Neymar comes back for this game.
And now
Uh,
Jesus is gone for the tournament, I
he
believe.
is. That one would be a big loss to basically any team except for Brazil because they do have Richarlison in there now. I think Richarlison is a bit overrated myself, but
Performing
that
well.
being said,
Not
he
gonna
has
take that
played a
away
good
from him.
tournament so far, and I can't fault him for that. He's been the main striker for Brazil in the tournament thus far, scoring obviously what I think is still the goal of the tournament, even with that Mexican free kick. I do think Richarlison is good enough to get the job done. I think Neymar's the big decision, the big talking point here because
I think maybe you
Brazil's
play
so
him.
reliant on him.
Yeah, maybe play him, but don't play him the whole game if you're gonna have to. Again,
Yeah,
this is now the knockout stage, so you can't really pull any punches, but at the same time, you want to be careful.
yeah. I think the key for South Korea, if you're South Korea, you have to play a physical match, regardless, especially if Neymar does play. Now, obviously, I don't really tout injuring anybody, but knowing Neymar has that ankle issue, if you're South Korea, you're gonna try to if you have any chance at winning this
Deal
game,
with that.
you
Yep.
have to foul him. No, Neymar's been the most fouled player in the tournament. Got his injury on a one that was a borderline challenge. But if you're South, yeah, like if you're South Korea, if you're the coach, you're telling your guy, you should be telling your back line, Kim, foul him. Like you don't even have to name all the guys. You just have to say Kim. Um, so yeah, you gotta think that South Korea is gonna play a physical match. They got to get the ball
Yeah.
to Sonny
Honestly,
if
I
they're
don't
doing
think
anything.
I don't think either of us had South Korea getting out of that group.
I think I had them last. No, I didn't. I had Cameroon last in that.
But regardless, they're here.
Or yeah,
Sonny's here. I love Sonny. I think we said this in the first podcast video. I love
yeah,
Sonny. I want everything good to possibly happen for him. I think, unfortunately, this is probably where that
yeah,
ends.
yeah. I
Uh,
did say Ghana would get last in that group, and they did. But yeah, the fact that South Korea here instead of Uruguay is a bit surprising.
I
Um,
think that's probably karma related for Uruguay
oh, I
because
think so. I think one of the funniest things I've seen in this tournament, there's two that I'll talk about. The first is the fact that Uruguay is out with Ghana, but Ghana didn't even seem to care that they were out. They were just celebrating so much that Uruguay was out with them.
they
It's
played
like
pretty well too, though. I'm not gonna
they
discredit.
did. Ghana
They
put up a
actually
good
played
fight. I was honestly quite
pretty good group
surprised.
stage.
I forgot there's a few guys in that team like I discussed last episode that I forgot existed, like Andre Ayew. Um, but there's also guys that I didn't realize played for Ghana, like Mohamed Salisu. I forgot about Southampton center back Tarek Lamptey, who is Brighton's right back, great player going forward. Um, and yeah, there's some quality in that Ghana team. With Thomas Partey, obviously he was an unknown entity. But I think yeah, the Ghana definitely played well. They surprised me.
Yeah, good for
Um,
them. And they took down the devil with them, as
they
they
took
say
down
themselves,
Luis Suarez in Uruguay, and they could not be
and they
happier.
made them cry. So I guess that's a
Um,
win for them.
yeah, absolutely. And then the second iconic moment that I was going to mention was Vincent Abubakar. I think this there's a lot to mention with him. Now he's been a decent player in his career. He played for Porto at the height of his powers. He goes in, heads the ball right past Ederson. He's on a yellow card, doesn't care, throws off the jersey, gets sent off in the process, and he handshakes the referee as he's sending him off as like, okay, fair
Oh
enough.
man,
I did this. It's
I
the
got
rule of the game. Like completely understood why the referee gave him the card. Um, but a weird point is that he was the last guy. He was the most recent guy to score and then get sent off in the same match in a World Cup. The last person to do that
Zidane.
was
Yes.
Zinedine Zidane in 2006 with the infamous headbutt of Marco Materazzi. Um, yeah, I mean that just a bit of trivia
Interesting little
that kind
fact.
of
Yeah.
threw me off.
But honestly, good for Ghana. Obviously, they didn't get out of the group stage, but I think they got something they wanted out of that match.
Oh, they did. They
So
absolutely
I'm going to
did. They held
congratulate
Uruguay
them
to
for
the
that.
nut to the different the margin of error that they needed to, and full props to them for holding Uruguay back with them and sending South Korea through. I do still think Brazil's going to win the game.
Yeah.
I do think that while South Korea, if they play the physical match, that'll be their best chance. I just think Brazil's quality is going to be too much, especially if Neymar plays, since he is the big leader in this Brazilian team. Um, and I think it'll be like a 2-0 win for Brazil there. I think they'll have some trouble. I think both Serbia and Switzerland gave Brazil a run for their money defensively. Um, Obviously, there was a goal called back in the Switzerland match, but in the end of the day, they did get the winning goal through Casemiro, um, and a good, well taken volley as it was. But Switzerland and Serbia gave them some trouble, and I think if South Korea adopt a similar philosophy, they can. But I think Brazil's quality is going to be too much.
Yep. No arguments there. Brazil on top on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then going into the final match, it is Portugal against Switzerland.
We got two
Um,
matches. You missed
oh,
the
did
one
I?
where Morocco Spain.
I did miss
Yeah.
Morocco, Spain. I did. We'll talk about that one first. Morocco, Spain. This one might be my surprising result of
I
the
think I'm going to
knockout
agree
of the
with you
round
on
of
this
16.
one.
I have Morocco going through.
Yeah. I think it's a little
Um,
bit of like at the same time, I really don't like Spain. But then on top of that, Morocco has been
they've been
so
good.
surprising, but deserving. I'm going to give them all the credit for getting out of a group that I think I had them in last place.
I did too.
I think a lot of people did as well. But listen, I think it's another Japan-esque type team. They have a lot of
I think
passion,
so.
and I think I think honestly, they could just be a better team overall than Spain. Besides the name recognition, I think
I mean, Spain's got a good squad, but they did lose to Japan and they drew a weakened Germany
yeah,
team. There's definitely weaknesses in the Spain side. I think in both of my brackets, I think I had Morocco going through. Um, I think guys like Ziyech are playing really well. Hakimi is always class. Their defense has been pretty solid, other than an own goal against Canada, which gave me some false hope. But that obviously didn't go. It wasn't our best tournament, but we went out fighting. Um, yeah, I mean Morocco topped the group. They beat Belgium. They beat Canada. Two teams that uh, have some known entities in them, and they did tie. I believe they tied Croatia. So well, they did tie Croatia 0-0. I think that there's enough quality in this team where I think they'll take it to Spain. I don't think they're going to hold back too much. I do think Spain will dominate possession, like they always do. They did
that's
against
just how
Japan.
they play.
That's how they play. That's the Barcelona style of Luis Enrique. Um, I do think Spain is going to dominate possession, but I do think Morocco's got that speed and that
Mm.
potency on the counter attack, similar to Japan. where I think that Morocco's gonna nick a goal or two, and Spain just won't have any answers. Spain's biggest issue is their striker position. Um, the fact that Alvaro Morata, who at Chelsea was known for missing sitters, is their best striker, it's kind of shocking. I don't understand how a nation goes from having David Villa, Fernando Torres, to having Alvaro Morata. It's just I
He
don't
did
get it.
score in this tournament, but
He has.
it's not. I don't think it's enough to take them on. I mean, again, they have a really strong midfield. Midfield that always makes the difference.
Strong but inexperienced.
Yeah,
Like Busquets obviously is as old as Father Time, but Pedri and Gavi, now they're both class players. They both have a bright future, but um, I think I think Morocco's gonna take it to those guys and really make them uncomfortable. Um, there is that level of quality in Morocco where I think that they're gonna challenge guys like uh like Gavi and Pedri. Not names that I really know in Morocco's midfield, but it's obviously a midfield that has gotten the job done. So if they can get the ball to their front three and Boufal, Ziyech, and Nesri, I mean that's a decent front three. It's a front three that's all played in either La Liga or the Premier League.
hmm.
Ziyech is obviously, I would say, the best player in this team with Hakimi. Um, but he's gonna give Jordi Alba some trouble in that right wing. I really think he will. Scored a great goal against Canada, a bit of calamity at the back there, but um, I do think that Hakim Ziyech can be the difference in this game. I think Morocco's got enough going forward there, and a decent defense led by their goalkeeper Bunu and Roman Saiz. Um, so
Yep.
yeah, that I would say is my shocking result of the
Nothing to
tournament.
add there. I wouldn't even say that's too shocking, honestly.
Yeah.
But maybe
Um,
again, it's the name recognition that's going to make it a shock factor. I think
yeah.
Morocco might be honestly comfortable here in this.
I think they could be.
That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, I would say this about teams from Africa. They've had a very good showing in this World Cup. Obviously, Ghana didn't make it out of the group, but they played pretty well.
Mhm.
Senegal made it out of the group, and so did so did Morocco. Morocco being the first African team to top their group since 1998. So that's a big win for them, and a big win for African teams who none of which qualified from the last tournament into the round of 16. So big strides there from CAF as a federation, and I really am pulling for both Morocco and Senegal. Obviously, I have England winning the Senegal match, but I would love an upset there. I
I'd
would
just like to point
I'd
out
be
that
thrilled. I'd be thrilled if Senegal
Samuel
had a win
Eto'o
there.
was a little bit incorrect in his bracket guessing.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, it
saying,
is what it
but
is. Yeah, but good
flip
showing
it
for
off
African
more.
teams, and I think they'll live on past the round of 16. Now going to the final match. Obviously, I misread the last one, but we got Portugal against Switzerland. Now, Switzerland is a tough team to play. They
Always.
are stubborn, they are resurgent, and they do have some attacking quality going forward. Um, Now, obviously, Sheridan Shaqiri plays in the MLS now, but he scored a great goal against Serbia. Brelem
He's always
Bolo
going
is
to
on
show up in a
fire.
tournament. That's what he does.
Yeah,
Uh,
he just shows up in the World Cup.
I
Um,
think Portugal again is a team that by name should win easily. I still think they'll win. I don't think it'll be easy in the end.
no,
I think it'll be a slim margin win. I think Switzerland will probably score in this match.
I
Honestly,
think they will too. I think Brelem Bolo is going to be good for a goal. He has two already in the tournament. A well taken finish against Serbia. Uh, Now Serbia did give Switzerland some trouble in that game. They did. I don't know why Serbia, frankly, didn't play both Vlahovic and Mitrovic in all three of their matches. Vlahovic spent a lot of time on the bench. I don't know how you leave a player of his quality on the bench for that long. I would have gone with the Serbian lineup they used against Switzerland in all three matches because they managed to put Tadic right below the two strikers. They put Kostic in the team. Um, and Milinkovic Savic dropped a little bit deeper. I don't understand why they didn't use that team going forward, but
fortunately, I think it's too little, too late.
it
Can't do anything
is.
about it now.
It is, but Serbia or not Serbia, Switzerland showed their resiliency in that match to come back from 2-1 down to win 3-2. Now Switzerland's got a good team. Remo Freuler is a phenomenal player. He's obviously playing for Nottingham Forest now, but does have that Champions League experience with Atalanta. Brelin Bolo, as I mentioned him, decent enough striker, gets the job done. Plays for Monaco in France. Can't really knock him. Either Jan Sommer or Gregor Kobel. Kobel played in the last match. I think Sommer might be dealing with an injury. Both of them are decent goalkeepers. Sommer is obviously going to give them the better chance if he does play. He's a tournament goalkeeper. He absolutely steps up in the biggest moments. He did against France and the Euros last year. I think if Kobel does play, I think that benefits Portugal. Now he's obviously still a good goalkeeper, but he doesn't have that tournament experience that Sommer does, to where you're kind of just primed to stand on your head,
Mhm.
which he has done in the past.
Well, so Sommer played the first two games. He only conceded one against Brazil,
Yeah, and that's
which blew,
Brazil.
and they clean sheet against Cameroon, which might just be because it's Cameroon.
Yeah,
But yeah, Kobo, who conceded two goals in his only game so far against a team that struggled offensively.
they struggled, but I will say this about Serbia: if they made it through, no one would have wanted to face them because you have two absolute brutes as strikers. Mitrovic, I mean, is the epitome of a brutish striker. Like he's big, he's fast, is not afraid to go into a challenge, even though he is a striker. And he scored 50. He scored 50 goals for Serbia, and he broke the FL Championship record for goals in a single season. Fun fact: I was at the match where he broke it. So yeah, like he he is an absolute force to be reckoned with. I mean, so is Vlahovic, and I don't know why Vlahovic didn't play. There was a rumor that he had a affair with somebody's girlfriend, but um, still, I don't know how you don't play him. He's too good not to be in that team. But um, Serbia would have been a good team, but Switzerland were the ones to make it through. I think Portugal has enough quality to get it done.
They should,
Yeah. Now Ronaldo hasn't had a great tournament. I,
but
I don't,
they haven't needed him really.
yeah,
They've done. I think they said all of their goals since the first one have come from anyone but Ronaldo.
yeah.
So I
Uh,
don't think they're really in trouble.
Yeah, if Portugal does go on to win the World Cup, in my second bracket, actually, I do remember it now. I had them beating Argentina. Um, i- if they go on to win the World Cup, it will not be because of CR7 as great as he is. It'll be because
Unless it's a
of
penalty
his
kick,
supporting
it's not
cast.
going to be. It's not
Yeah,
going to be Ronaldo.
it'll be because of Portugal's supporting cast. I do think that Bruno Fernandes has had a great tournament so far. He's been, I would say, Portugal's best player. Um, Bernardo Silva is obviously class. Leao, I think, should be in the starting team.
Agreed.
Um, I think Joao Felix should be in the starting team. I think that should be their front three. Um, Leao, Ronaldo, Joao Felix.
Regardless, you'll need to start Ronaldo every single time
Well, yeah,
because
just because of his name, you have
he's
to.
still a threat no matter what way you look at it, and he is a leader no matter what
It,
way you look at it. Whether he's on the bench or on the pitch, he's always leading. He's coaching.
absolutely.
He's an important presence. You can't. You're not Portugal without Ronaldo. Even if he has zero touches on the ball, you're gonna need him in that lineup.
Absolutely. And to kind of go off that point, that goal he scored against Uruguay, where he, you know, didn't head the ball, but still did enough to throw off the goalkeeper to where, you know,
Give him
what I
his
think
credit.
was what I think was actually a cross did go into the goal.
Yeah,
Um,
it was definitely a pass. It was a cross or pass of some sort, but
yeah,
it went in. It's all that matters at the end of the
it did.
day.
And that just kind of that goal I think emphasizes how important Ronaldo is because he's still making the runs in the box to draw the defenders into him. Where I think if he does that, guys like Leao and Felix are going to have an absolute field day against an aging Ricardo Rodriguez and Vidmer on the right back spot for Switzerland. Um, I think that those guys are going to have to step up. I think Bruno's going to have a good game. Bernardo Silva's going to have a good game. And whoever plays defensive midfield, whether it's Palinha or William Carvalho or Neves, I think that guy's going to have to do enough to stop the counterattacks. That's Switzerland does throw forward. I would personally probably use Carvalho in this situation. I think Neves is a little better going forward, but just for the all intensive purposes of having an out and out CDM, I would go with William Carvalho.
Yeah,
Um,
I won't disagree with that.
yeah. And then for the back line, I mean, if you're going over there, I would start Danilo with Ruben Diaz. I think Pepe's age is a problem. I don't think that he should play this match. I mean, he's still obviously got that edge in him. And if he did start, it wouldn't be the worst decision. But I think you want to go with a mixture of experience and then also class.
Yeah,
So hard to say, but I think Portugal will etch out the win there.
final say, well, maybe 3-1, 2-1.
Yeah, I think that's a fair result. I would go depending on which goalkeeper plays for Switzerland. If it's Sommer, I'm going to go 2-1. If it's Koval, I'm going to go 3-1. I think Switzerland is good for a goal. I think Mbolo will get on the score sheet, but I don't think it'll be enough, unfortunately, for the Swiss. And it's a team that, frankly, I do appreciate the Swiss. I think if they were against anyone else, I would say they're going up against that team's gonna have some trouble. I do wish they were playing France or something like that because I think that they would potentially beat them again. But
Yeah,
I think Portugal. I have on one of my brackets. I have a route to the final, so I got to pick them to win.
yep,
All
agree
right.
there.
Well, that will do it. That is our World Cup round of 16 predictions. Hopefully, we're decently right and going forward. Enjoy the round of 16. Argentina against Australia today with a bunch of great matches this week following. And until next time, I am Grayson Mortimer.
I'm Hunter Boyven.
And we will see you next time.